the WWE is getting ready for a really big week in their company's history, really. It's John Cena's retirement, and we're going to look ahead to that in just a little bit. We're going to get ready for Monday Night Raw, but don't get to talk about SmackDown a lot. It's on Fridays, and so we kind of, venture away from that. Sue Taryn, WWE, okay, you're here on your own. Appreciate it, Sue Taryn. Check my YouTube channel out. I got a bunch of, boxing I've kind of fallen off on a little bit, but got a lot of boxing, a lot of other non-WWE on there. You can get caught up on a lot of content from Couch Potato Diary. But I appreciate you coming in, talking about the face punching here with us today. But the WWE, don't get to talk about SmackDown a lot. It's on Fridays. By the time we're here on Monday, there's been a lot that's happened over the weekend. But I just thought there was a couple of things on SmackDown that really deserved our attention. So let's take a look at what was a pretty noteworthy edition of SmackDown from Friday. We are on the road to John Cena's last match, and SmackDown, we figured out who was going to be the challenger. We all kind of knew where that was going, but I think we set up some pretty interesting stuff along the way as well. Obviously, the big thing is Gunther. He is going to challenge John Cena for John Cena's last match. I thought the match with LA Knight was really good. I thought they made LA Knight come across like the underdog, but also very effective as well. And I thought that they did a very good job of kind of protecting him and making him feel like he was deserving of that spot while still giving Gunther a dominant performance and then sending the message to John Cena with a move that's kind of like the STFU. I thought a very strong showing altogether. The thing that impressed me the most on this show was Solo's promo against the Wyatt Six and saying, I'm going to make it so so that the world knows you don't deserve the name Wyatt. And like that, I believe. I thought that was excellent from Solo. And kind of the thing I've been waiting for from this guy. Like he was the silent muscle of the bloodline. And then when he gets in charge, it was probably too much too soon for him. The promos weren't as good. The second he opened his mouth, he became much less intimidating, honestly. And then he tries to play the funny thing, which at least gave him some personality. But this is what I want to see more of. And I call for this kind of thing a lot. I like my wrestling serious. I'm not a funny ain't money all the way guy, but if we want some characters to be taken seriously, they have to be serious. And Solo, he had the look, he had the brawler type thing going on. It wasn't really working, but now getting back to this sort of a thing, I thought this was fantastic to reestablish the Solo character in the way that I would see it. So I thought it was great. I also really like how they are using this US Open Challenge thing. The lame thing with calling Ciampa a jackass and all of that. Like it's not the most in-depth storytelling, but they have now made me interested in Ciampa versus Carmelo, in Carmelo versus Dragunov Part 2, in Dragunov versus Ciampa, and then teeing things up with Tonga, who is always right there when Dragunov is in the back, and then something with Fraxium and DIY. Like, they have used this open challenge in a way that has elevated quite a few performers and a few matches and a few stories now very, very effectively. So I think they have done a great job with this. And I think with Carmelo, there's a way, and I know I had a joke a couple of years ago before, like, it was out a few years ago now, actually. But they would have, when they have the two championships, but no real brand split, everything in my mind was always towards how can we unify these championships. And eventually we did with Randy Orton, John Cena, and then Daniel Bryan and all that. But so much of everything that Carmelo is in is tied towards bringing Trick in with him and all of that. And I think you can kind of start to see that play out now, where the numbers game hurts him with Tommaso Ciampa coming in and costing him the U.S. title against Ilya Dragunov. Well, now I need some backup as well. And the other thought I had was because Trick and Kalani Jordan seemed like they were starting some on-screen chemistry a little bit. Well, they have Candice LeRae, so I should have Kalani come in and kind of help me out as well. I think you can kind of start to see where some of those building blocks are. But again, that is where my tunnel vision is with it, so maybe I'm just seeing something that isn't there. I do also like continuing to build up the women's tag team division and the rivalries in it. I think using War Games while we all had our criticisms of War Games, using that in a way to spin off a number of different tag team rivalries, plus furthering AJ and Becky Lynch. I think when you look at AEW and Blood and Guts, which was obviously like a superior product to War Games, but the follow up where that Mother's Milk submission that obviously with the whipping too, that made Tony Storm have to submit on Mina Shirakawa's behalf, that has now been broken out of a couple of times, and now the two teams that lost in War Games are wrestling for the championship. So I don't know if the follow-up has necessarily been there. But then you look at the follow from WWE, and we now have spun this off into Rhea and Io continuing on as a team, having an issue with the Kabuki Warriors. We'll talk about Rhea more in a second. Lash Legend and Nia also going for the tag team championships, the Kabuki Warriors in there as well. You have kind of spun this out into a multi-brand tag team title battle on a group of championships that can go from brand to brand. So I think they've done a really good job of kind of following it up on the women's side with that really, really well. I don't love adding Rhea to the Damian Priest thing. It helps the story. It helps Priest. It helps the intrigue of it because the story's been dead. It adds arguably the biggest star in the company to a story. That helps. It brings her to SmackDown for a show. That's going to help her rating. And like I said, it makes it interesting. So there is that. I just hate that, again, the brand split thing is falling apart. And I know that people fall in apart. But like there is a way to do the brand split well. And I know people criticized it at the beginning, but I thought the start of the brand split when they did it, after WCW goes down, and you have the draft, Raw is Raw, SmackDown is SmackDown. And if you wanted someone to kind of bounce back and forth, you had to make a trade. Or it was Eric Bischoff stole this contract from Raw, from SmackDown. Stephanie McMahon poached this star over to SmackDown and brought it that way. That there was storyline for it. And WWE has tried to do a storyline thing sometimes, but it has always been, oh, it's a wild card. This person can come in and do that, but ignore the other three others that are doing it or whatever. And now they're just not even trying with this. So I wish there was like a loan system or a something, but just some kind of a story to kind of keep the integrity of the brand split up a little bit. Because I do think having a brand split is valuable. Having multiple champions, valuable, all of those sorts of things. But you have to keep the rest of it solid for the good parts to mean anything. And this is just the latest in a long line of chipping away at the foundation of all of that. But overall, very, very good SmackDown leading up to a big week in the WWE. For those of you who are looking for just the wrestling stuff, the opposite of Sutern, who left the chat after we were talking about, started talking about WWE. If you just want the wrestling, I have a wrestling podcast. It is called Living Room Lariat. It is available on Spotify. Again, just search Living Room Lariat. That honestly would be my preferred destination for you. For it is Spotify. There's just a few more bells and whistles over there, video-wise and all of that too. But you can also get it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. But if you're sitting through 2 hours of sports talk wasn't necessarily your jam to get to the wrestling, we got the wrestling stuff for you over there. And some things that are unique to Living Room Lariat.